Hi everyone, this is U.S. immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori, and in today's video I want to talk about a question that I've been getting asked by a lot of my clients that are facing this issue, and basically it's for permanent residents that are outside of the United States right now, and they're having difficulty coming into the United States. Because of coronavirus, because of the pandemic, there aren't flights available, and they just can't come back in. And the issue is that as a permanent resident, staying outside of the United States for too long can jeopardize your status as a permanent resident. Generally, travel for less than 6 months should not be an issue. Travel between 180 days and a year can trigger heightened scrutiny from CBP when the permanent resident is coming back to the United States. And travel for longer than a year from a permanent resident can definitely be problematic because the green card alone is no longer a valid entry document once you've been outside of the United States for over a year. And a lot of my clients are outside of the United States. They were planning on coming back before the 1 year mark, but now they're in a situation where the flights are not available, and they're asking me what they should do. So let's talk about what you should do if you're in this situation. So the first things first, if at all possible, if it's safe to travel to the United States, and if you can get a flight, it's best to come back before 6 months, before 180 days. That's when, for the most part, you should be safe. And then the next thing is that if you cannot come back within 6 months, then you should definitely try to come back within a year. Now, if you cannot come back within a year, for those of you that have re-entry permits, a re-entry permit is a travel document, and it's specifically for permanent residents, green card holders that are leaving the United States for longer than a year. For those of you that have a re-entry permit, make sure to re-enter the United States before the expiration of your re-entry permit. Once the re-entry permit expires, it does you no good. So make sure to re-enter the United States before your re-entry permit expires. Now, for the majority of you, for many of you that do not have a re-entry permit and are outside of the United States, and you're planning to come back into the United States and you just can't come in before a year, what you should start doing is putting things on record with the consulates, the local consulates and the embassies of your home country, the U.S. consulates, letting them know that you're trying to re-enter, but this is the situation. And the reason I say that is because there is a special visa called an SB1 returning resident visa. The returning resident visa is precisely for this scenario, for a permanent resident who has left the United States with the intention of returning to the United States before a year, but for some reason, for something that occurred that was not foreseeable, that they did not plan for, has kept them outside of the United States longer than the anticipated time that they were planning on being outside of the United States. It's called an SB1 visa. It's called a returning resident visa. Now, if you're in a situation where it's likely that you might need to apply for this returning resident visa, it's important to start compiling evidence for the reason why you stayed longer than a year or longer than you were anticipating on staying outside of the US. So compiling that evidence is going to be important. Making that initial communication with the consulate and the embassy and having printouts of those conversations, whether it be via email or having some sort of a paper trail showing the reason why you were outside of the United States longer than planned, is going to be very helpful for getting your SB1 returning resident visa approved. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully you'll be able to return to the United States before there's any sort of timing that's an issue. But if you're looking at the current trends and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to come in, if your 1 year mark is going to approach, in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or so, and you see that travel is very restricted and there's no flights available, start compiling that evidence, because it's going to be very helpful for you down the line when it comes time to apply for that returning resident visa. A couple other announcements, in light of everything that's going on with COVID-19 and there being a ton of updates, regular updates that are going on with immigration, we've upped the amount of videos that we're putting out. We're constantly putting out U.S. immigration related videos. If you guys want to stay on top of all the content that we're putting out, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. That's the best way to be informed of everything that's going on. Other than that, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, I'm the one that's monitoring this page. So you can just put the questions in the comments below. I'll personally review those comments and answer those questions. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you on the next video.